This is a spontaneous Surfing Vuzuvaya moment. So this morning we're going to talk about, yesterday we talked about getting rid of energies that were our own clutter, right? Today we're going to talk about other people's clutter, other people's business, and why it's not ours. So this is a time of looking so much honestly at the world, at the injustices of the past and the present, and consciously choosing to create a world where of equity and being, right? Being. Well-being, yes, but this is our inherent right. This is the baseline of conduct. This is the baseline of sovereignty, that each being deserves the basics: food, health, expression, safety, education, information, access to what everyone else has. Water, safe food, safe experience to grow. So, in looking at the world, and looking especially at close relationships or people we come across in our lives, we were only like, if only I could do that for them. Or sometimes in our lives we try to do that for others. We want so much for them to not have this pain, to not have this struggle in their lives, that we think we can do it for them. Speaking for myself here, So in my life, the majority of my work in this world has been experiencing other people's realities in a very deep and relevant way. So that when I'm in session with my clients, I get to go into their world, into how they think and feel, and their memories, and the hologram that they're experiencing. Then I come back to mine. Ta-da! That being the incredible core, so much of learning in this work. Because I literally cannot do it for a client. It's not that I haven't tried. It's not that I haven't been like, here, I will take on this obstacle for you. It is that what I have seen in my personal and professional life, I know I've heard this in the echoes of many others' experiences. Perhaps you might have some echoes and resonance of your own with this. So when I interfere and try and do something for someone, they generally repeat the experience, and often more dramatically, until they get the lesson that they signed up for. This is, you are a master. You are a universal divine creator in a world of divine creators. One could say we're all co-creators. All these pieces of the hologram dancing and playing together, right? And so, believe, have faith. One of the most powerful things you can do in seeing someone who's not believing in themselves, is to believe in them. That is in fact the core of the phrases both Namaste and Sat Nam. You know, like Namaste these are huge definitions because these are ancient and powerful phrases. So I'm generalizing here, but there's both the recognition of the divine within me, recognizes the divine within you. That is when I heard that definition of Namaste when I was like 19, and it just touched my heart in a huge way. And Sat Nam, which is again one of the descriptions, definitions of it that really touched me. Sat Nam as the understanding of I recognize that divinity, which you are, which we all are. I recognize that oneness, which is you. And so, don't worry about doing it for them. Each and every being that's part of what's going on this planet right now is a sovereign, beautiful, infinite, brilliant master, a maestro of a being. And they know what they're doing. We may not understand from the outside, but inside their experience, they have a brilliance and wit and humor and sacredness about their path that is meant only for them to understand. Just like you do. Just like I do. It is ours. It does not need to be explained. It does not need to be justified. It does not need to be proven. Inherent sovereignty. You are inherently an infinite, divine being who knows exactly what the fuck you're doing. Ooh, said fuck. Ooh, fuck, fuck. Okay. And you are simultaneously let's just reiterate that first one. You are an inherently brilliant and wise infinite being that knows exactly what you're doing. And you are surrounded by other beings that also know exactly what they're doing. So love them, believe in them, and release them to that. Now, if perhaps you've already had the experience of diving into someone else's energy and you're experiencing things which are not yours because you've taken on bits of other people's energies out of trying to fix or out of connecting too much, or it doesn't matter what, again, it doesn't need to be justified, it doesn't need to be explained. If you've had that experience, and I've got to say, I think every human has, every humanoid with empathy has, then how do we step out of that? Ways that we step out of that. Declare thyself, declare yourself, and recognize others. So, let's do this together, shall we? Let's start with breathing, because that is life, my friends. That is life. That very the breath, the force of life that feeds us constantly, that connects us to the web of information and everything through the pheromones of the other animalia beings around us, to the sterols of the plant beings, and the many other expressions of intelligence, emotion, and creativity that are the natural world, that are the element of air that we interact with constantly. We cannot live without. Only a few minutes. This field of brilliance, intelligence, and life that connects us all, that we connect to this field. We breathe in that which is us as sovereign, infinite beings, and we breathe out the recognition of a universe, of a multiverse, of sovereign, infinite beings. We acknowledge and thank all those who have reached in our energies beyond healthy boundaries, and we bless and thank them for their time and energy. And we breathe out thankfulness and appreciation for all those beings that we have overreached in trying to help. We breathe in the humor and acceptance of our own growth process. Are they mistakes? It's a learning curve. And we breathe out appreciation for all that we have learned through these experiences and these experiments. We breathe in love and acceptance for all the times in which we've said, what if we try? Just out of curiosity. And we breathe out the experiments that no longer serve us or any of the other beings involved in them for the highest good of all concerned. We breathe in that knowing, which is sovereignty, which is power of our own soul's truth. And we breathe out the recognition of sovereignty of every being and every soul in the multiverse. And we breathe in appreciation for the freedom and all the energy, all the aqua cords that no longer are because they did not serve us. And we breathe out the relief and the sweetness and the acceptance and the trust. We breathe out trust in the world. We breathe in trust in ourselves. And we breathe out trust in the whole universe. We breathe in remembering the recognition that we are that universe, that we are all one. And we breathe out the recognition that we created infinite number of sovereign manifestations of ourselves for a very good reason, because this is a really fun game. We breathe in the fun of the game and the responsibility of the fun and the joy of our personal sovereignty. And we breathe out thankfulness and appreciation for the brilliant sovereignty of every being in this dimensional game we're playing. And so, wax your surfboards with healthy boundaries. Wax your surfboards with trust. Trust in you and trust in everything that is you. And so, thank you. This has been Laurien Rowan for a spontaneous Surfing Vuzuvaya Moment. Thank you very much for joining me today. Through time-space, here we are. Much love and appreciation. As the bell says, crowns on, heads high. Go forth and be amazing, you beautiful sovereign beings. Blessed be. Meow. Mwah. Yes, and thank you. To be continued.